There we are. So welcome everybody. Jacqueline, I did not say hello to you. Thank you for joining us. Is it Jacqueline or Jacqueline?
It's Jacqueline.
Just good old American, Australian, Canadian-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Cool. So tonight we are here to do a little bit of ASL training, or American Sign Language training, knowing that we are doing a pilot project this year, working with people from BC Deaf Sport and one of the schools that they're involved with. So they reached out to me a few months ago, and yeah, kind of planted this idea in my head, and we started to talk about it. And we're like, yeah, let's just do it. Knowing that at the moment, CADS doesn't really address people with hearing disabilities very well, because typically they are stand-up ski and snowboard lessons with a communication barrier. So it's not really addressed in CADS. So we're just going to bridge the gap a little bit tonight and get a little bit of foundational things around ASL. And then in the next couple of weeks, we're trying to organize with a couple of the students that are going to be coming up for them to come and teach a class on Zoom, so that we can have them fully involved in the process and teaching us, let's be honest, all the cool words, the curse words, and then we'll look at skiing and snowboarding. Because that's just how we learn languages, right? The first things you learn are how to say the things when you're frustrated. So let me share my screen and look at a couple slides and see where we end up. If anybody does have any questions or anything, I am not always great at seeing my chat for questions because I'm often involved in what's going on. So if you want to, at any point, take off your microphone and just say whatever you got to say, I would love to have communication that way.
I can keep an eye on it for you too, James.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Cool. So you should be able to see a part of my slide deck now. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, looks good.
Excellent. And let me take this and make it bigger so I can see all of your smiling faces. And so we can practice a little. There we go. All right. So looking at signing for coaches. What are some visual sign language communications? So these may be some things you have heard of in the past. ASL's American Sign Language, pigeon sign, tactile sign, and two-handed manual. Has anybody heard of any of those? Yes? This means no. This means yes.
Is one of them, I don't know, keyword signing is kind of the basic signs, what's used often for people with autism. In Australia, it's called keyword signing. So I don't know whether maybe tactile, one of these ones would fall into that category.
I think that's more pigeon signing. So sort of really basic, sort of rudimentary signing.
Yeah.
Tactile signing is actually signing for people that are also blind. So there's a way to sign into people's hands so they can feel the letters. And then two-headed manual is done for sure in the UK. Is it in Australia, or do you guys in Australia, they use ASL?
We use Australian Sign Language, and that's two-handed.
That's two-handed. So yeah,
and
so I think that would be the same.
Different. Yeah.
Is it different than the one they use in the UK?
The UK is different, Australia is different, Europe is different. So unfortunately, I know all the alphabets except the American one.
Oh,
so
good. So we're going to learn. Isn't it funny? You think all these groups would get together and go, hey, let's just have one language, and then we'll figure out how to adapt it into spoken languages. But so these are a few of the things that you'll see. In Canada, it is primarily ASL that gets used. So thinking about our CADS training, is everybody here CADS certified or not yet? Some yes, some no. Soon. Okay. So in the world of CADS, we use a process called AOT, or Ask, Observe, and Test. And it's a way that we are continually gathering information about our student, as well as building a really strong bond with them. And this just kind of is a slide developed to kind of think about some things that we might inquire about with a student from their family or from the student directly, that would help us maybe understand how our lesson might develop. So some good things you might want to ask, how does your family best communicate with you? So talking to the student, we could find out what that process is. Do you have any hearing? And how well does it work? So this sounds like a funny, really basic question, but not everybody who has a hearing disability is deaf. Many people are just hard of hearing. So I watched a really good documentary actually on CBC during the Paralympics in the summer. And they were talking about how a lot of people hate the word hearing impairment. They either want to be classified as deaf or hard of hearing, so that they are almost two different groups. So I've tried to reflect some of that language in their profiles when we had people filling information out. So if you are going to be working with this Wednesday pilot project and you go look at the profiles, you'll have that as two options. So you'll know somebody is deaf, can't hear anything, and someone that is hard of hearing. You're going to have to come up with some sort of a test so that you can figure out where they hear best from. Maybe they hear better on one side or the other, maybe from the front, maybe from the back, and then try and see how that's going to work into our environment of the ski hill, which is always just the most quiet place in the world, with chairlifts running and people screaming and snow guns going off. And if you're at certain mountains, bombs going off. There's a lot of different sounds that can get in the way of things. Other questions you might have, do you have any hearing aids, cochlear implant, or FM system? Are you familiar with any of those? Yes, no, yes, a little bit. Jacqueline, what do you got? What have you heard of?
I've just heard a little bit about like cochlear implants and that it's not like a perfect version of hearing or clear image that we might expect it to be. But like what you said, it would be like you need to test how they hear. Cool.
There was a really good movie, and someone is going to know the name more than I am, I'm sure. It was up for a bunch of awards last year, and it was about a musician that lost their hearing. Does anybody remember what it was called? No? Right? Amelia's now. Yeah, okay.
We had a conversation about it, like drummer, something like something right? Time. No, we'll figure it out.
Okay. I'll get it back to you. When you guys are practicing the alphabet, I will go look it up. But what was really interesting about this, and I apologize, I don't know the name right now. It's really bugging me, but that's okay. I don't even have my phone. Oh, I do have my phone. Is that this character in the movie really thought it was going to be important to get a cochlear implant. So they went and got one and discovered that the quality of sound was so not what they had a reference to that eventually they just ripped it out and never used it. But they do a really interesting...
Metal.
Sorry?
It's called Sound of Metal. Sound of Metal,
Thank
right?
You. It's called... If you haven't seen Sound of Metal, check it out. It was on Netflix. I'm sure it's on one of the other streaming services if it's not Netflix, but really interesting kind of look into maybe what it's like for somebody who is losing their hearing and then someone who becomes deaf. And towards the end of the movie, there's no soundtrack at all, which is really fascinating. Like there's no sound at all. And it's really cool. Anyways, so yeah, finding out what aids they have and how they work and how they interpret what's going on is going to be important for us. Other things, can you think of anything in the mountain area that makes communication more difficult? And I didn't see that question before I started telling you all about that earlier. But yeah, there are lots of sounds that are definitely going to get in our way. Other questions, do you have any diagnosis, like other diagnosis like visual impairment? So sometimes with a hearing disability, there may be other things, other diagnoses that accompany that. So make sure that you have a full picture. And then you can do a really good test where if somebody is partially sighted, you can pick a distance away from them, have them close their eyes and just start walking and talking as you walk around in a circle and just see if they're, have them put up their hand if there's any point that it's really hard to hear you. And then you can do it from 20 feet and 30 feet and just kind of get a picture of where exactly you think they might be able to hear you. Does that all make sense? So you'll get more into that. If you haven't done your CADs yet, the AOT is a real foundational part of the way that we teach because our students always have complex needs and it's not always easy to figure out exactly how we can satisfy them right away. So it's an ongoing process. We're always looking to get a little bit better, get more information, and then be able to create a good learning path for them. Cool. Let's get on to the fun stuff. Does anybody know the alphabet in ASL? Oh, Jacqueline's putting up her hand. Anybody else? No? Okay. Greg. I see Greg just jumped on. All right. Jacqueline, how well do you know it? 1 to 10, what do you think?
I think I know them all. I just did a course, so I hope I know.
All right, let's do it. Let's do this. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of this so we can go big screen here. It'll look better on our video. Stop sharing. All right, are you ready? So we're gonna all follow Jacqueline, and if we have a disagreement, then we'll go to the board and see what it is. Good? All right, so right hand or left hand, does it matter?
I believe it's like your dominant hand. So what is your, yeah.
Is your signing hand. Okay, so
yeah.
Can you show us what an A looks like? A just looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, simple thumb going straight up. Okay, B, yep.
B.
Yep.
And then C.
C. C is pretty obvious one. It looks like a C. Okay.
D.
D.
Kind of looks like a D, I guess.
I agree. Totally looks like a D. Although when you do it this way, it looks a little different. Okay. Do you do it this way or this sideways, or does it matter?
I think it's like this.
Okay.
E.
E kind of looks like an E too from the side, right? Like if you
yeah,
cross
and I
your
think
fingers
it's
enough.
like flat on your hand.
Yeah.
But
I like what you're doing.
thank you.
No disagreement yet for me. So here we go.
And F is like this.
I always, and this is bad, but I always think like it's F and OK.
Yeah. It's hard to do F and
F's
B.
okay. Yeah.
I get.
Okay.
And then H.
Did we want to do G first?
Oh yeah. I knew I was gonna mess up the alphabet. There's too much pressure. G.
G. Yep.
H.
Yeah.
I.
Yep.
And J.
J is just a sweep of the I.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then K looks like this.
Yep. K is like a little peace sign with your thumb in the middle or thumb on your index finger. Yep.
Yeah. L. Yeah. M. This one's kind of nice to remember too because of the double M's. And then N is like this.
So the 3 humps is M,
Mm-hmm.
2 humps is N.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
O.
That's an obvious one. How can we not know that one? Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then P is like K, but like just down.
Yep.
Q.
Q is like G, but down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is G and that's Q.
Q.
Yep.
And U.
What about Q? R?
R.
Cross your fingers. Yep.
S.
S. I always think of S. I don't know why, but like a sucker punch. Like I'm going to just punch somebody quick in the face. I don't know. And then
Learning a little bit about your personality here.
are you? Huh.
S and then T.
T.
And this is good because this is also bathroom.
That's bathroom. Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So that's
Okay.
a good one to know.
T for toilet.
T.
Now you.
U.
Yep.
V.
Yeah.
W.
Right.
X. Looks like this.
Does X have a movement to it?
I'm not sure. Some people do it like just like this, and some people do a movement.
Yeah. I thought it was a forward movement, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it's close-ish. Yep.
And then Y.
Y.
And then Z.
And then Z. That was amazing. You did amazing. Thank you. So let me put up my screen again. And so this is the one that I grabbed. And this one, you're right. They don't put any motion in the X on this alphabet. But so yeah, something like this to have on your phone is really good idea, especially like if in the next week, you just try to do the alphabet like 2 or 3 times a day, your brain will grab it nice and quick. It's shocking how fastly you can do this. Now with a reference there, does anybody want to try and sign their name? Just spell their name. I shouldn't say sign their name. I should say spell your name. Amelia's all over it. Nice. So Jacqueline, can I ask you a question? In the course that you just took, if you had 2 letters that were the same back to back, do you open your hand entirely and then do it again? Or do you make a motion, or do you know anything like
it kind of changes for the letters. I can't remember specifically, but like say for the name like Lee, it would be L-E.
Right. Okay.
And then, but usually when you're finger spelling, it's like you don't do like J-A-C, like you don't stamp it.
Right.
You just kind of move your hand casually.
Yeah, because I think we have a tendency to want to stamp it, and you're totally right. Ideally, you try and keep your hand sort of in one isolated place. So that
so if you're doing like your name is Danny and you have two ends, I think you kind of open it a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But
cool.
I think if you're signing to someone who knows, like they'll understand and might correct you. I don't know.
Or they'll just think your name is Danny with one N, and that's fine too. Now, my understanding with names is that you spell your name until you're given a name. And somebody in the deaf community could potentially give you a name with a sign that may or may not reflect your direct name, but it could just become your name. And that's how you would be known. So, you know, with any luck at all, you may get named this year.
Lots of Australians get, well, in the UK, lots of Australians get Skippy, like
right.
Australia, or like Australia is like pick people up from the UK and throw them into Australia. That's the sign for Australia. So people get that as their name, which doesn't work very well when there's more than one. So
I love that. That's Amelia's new name. There it is. Just pick her up and check her down.
I'll be Skippy then.
James?
Yes.
It's Ken. Would it be easier if, or we could ask if they could read lips? Would that be easier than signing in the snow?
So there's a couple of challenges. It turns out that not many people actually read lips very successfully. So as a practice, it's kind of decreasing at the moment. The other challenge is that in a COVID time when most of us are wearing masks, it's not going to work at all. So, and on the ski hill, when we often have things around our mouths, it's just not going to be a good concept. In the dark, all sorts of problems come up. So learning how, and I mean, I'm sure many of you have traveled other places on the planet where they don't speak English. And often many of us are pretty good at figuring out how to communicate without using any real language. And I think that's going to happen a lot in our ski lessons. So, you know, one of the expressions I hope to learn would be something like, you know, copy what I'm doing, and then you just show them emotion, just like we do in all of our other ski and snowboard classes, right? You're like, here, do this, and you know, you get people to copy you. So I suspect a lot of our communication will happen that way. But I think if we can at least learn the alphabet, then that helps us bridge the gap of communication. And if there is something especially emergent, then we have a way to communicate immediately. My ask has been that they have 10 interpreters that come up to the mountain during the program. So there will be lots of people around that can help us, but I think the more that we can manage by ourselves, I think that's an interesting opportunity for us, for sure. Did that answer your question pretty well? Cool. All right, should we try this again from A and just go through it one more time? Here we go, start at A. A, B, C. Who knows D? So D. D is a circle, and then your first finger up. There you go. Okay, E, scrunch everything up. It looks like an E if you look at it sideways. F is that A-okay?
Is E quite an open hand? Is E quite an open hand? So it's not a closed hand?
Correct, yeah, E is very open.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of your second knuckle bent over. Yep. So F. Excellent. What happens? What's after F, Jacqueline? G. So G is a little gap. There you go. H.
Okay, so that's different than what we've got.
Different, yeah.
Yeah.
So the G that they have there, they just have it this way. They have it sideways.
Ah.
So whether it's here or here,
Okay.
yeah, it's the same. Yeah, good point. Thank you. H.
And I think Greg's got his hand up, maybe.
Greg? Greg's just hitting things.
Okay, there we go. My question is, are we always palm towards the student?
How does ish sound?
Oh, God. Where'd that word come from?
Well, because Q is not. Like Q is here, right?
Yeah.
So if you did it with the palm towards, it would be weird. So.
Okay. So just follow.
Not always. It kind of depends on the letter. Anyways, let's pick back up at I. I's an easy one. J is my favorite one. So J is just I, and you just dip it down like it's the letter J. There you go. And then K is like the peace sign with your thumb. So instead of having it straight up, it's just kind of sideways. There we go. L. M. Do you remember how many humps there are in M? 3. And then 2 is N. And for a bonus question, what is this one? Oh, M, N.
Toilet?
Toilet, yeah, T. You're right. So that's the T. So I'm always just, M, N, T. Cool. After M, we have the really obvious O. And then P was just like the K, but pointed down. Beautiful. And what's after P? It was just, yeah. So the Q was just like the G, right? But pointed down. R, cross your fingers, hope not to lie. S. S is a punch. I'm an S, yep. T we already did. U, V, and W I think are really easy. They're all commonsensical. U, V, W. Let's go again. U, V, W. X is a funny little hook. Y is like we're in, what state is this? Does this? Hawaii? Hang loose? Yeah. And then Z or Z, very Zorro-ish. Nice.
When you do the Zorro, do you do the Z towards you or like mirror image away from you?
No, do it like you are drawing on a chalkboard.
Okay.
Sorry, for those of you a certain age, on a whiteboard, on a digital screen, on an iPad.
On an iPad, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Got it. Took me a while. Awesome. So I think this is not a bad place to stop. This is pretty quick tonight, but I think if you've never seen the alphabet, that's a big chunk. Should we tackle the numbers as well, do you think? Jacqueline, what do you think? Should we tackle numbers? Jacqueline's saying, yeah. Okay, Jacqueline, you're on.
Okay, so it's different from the screen, but I was taught that the first 5 are palm facing you.
Ooh, okay.
So it goes 1, 2, 3.
3? Oh my gosh, okay.
You have, yeah.
Okay.
5.
Just a second, just a second. So this is 3, and this is 4?
4.
Okay.
It looks like this from the other side before.
Yeah. All right.
5.
And then 5.
And then you turn it around.
And then you turn it around.
Which is, I think, yeah, I don't know why.
6. 7. 8. 9. And what's this, 10?
10.
What was 0?
0.
Now, how come 0 and O look the same?
I think it's just context.
All context, okay. Okay, I like that. Cool. I think that's easy to do it backward. Either way, I mean, it's the same answer, right? So let's go again. We'll start at 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, which one is 6? What do we touch? Pinky, thumb and pinky. So we go to this way. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's kind of awesome. I like it. Now we can get people's phone numbers, right? So then we can text them, and maybe that'll be the easiest way we communicate. I'm sure that lots of our students will be very apt in using text, and that might end up being a really good solution for us. Although in the cold sometimes, or dead batteries, all of a sudden, you think you've got a good plan and the plan is gone. So Jacqueline, I'm gonna just keep using your brain. If we were gonna learn one really great expression before we leave tonight, what would be the one really great expression we should learn? Say it again. Okay. Okay. Could you not just do thumbs up? Is that not good for okay too? Or no? No, because then they think you're saying 10.
My professor would always go like this at the end of class. Like, or like, thank you is nice. I like that one.
Thank you is a good one. I use thank you a lot. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Do we clap like this? Is that what happens in ASL? For clapping?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Still.
Yep.
But that's 2 hands.
2 hands. Maybe it's just a 1 hand. Maybe it's a standing 2 hands. You never know. Awesome. Well, I think this was a great start, and I thank you all for spending a little bit of time with me. My encouragement would be for you to either take a screenshot, and I can put this back up if you want to take a screenshot, or download the ASL card so that you can do a little practice this week. And my suggestion would be at least 3 times a day, just run through the alphabet and do the numbers. And you'll be surprised that next time we get together, this won't feel like a foreign thing. I know that my sister and I, when we were 10 and 11, learned how to sign so that we could speak in front of my mother without her knowing. So we just learned the alphabet, and then we could speak in the car, and it drove my mother crazy. It was wonderful.
I've got a question for Jacqueline because she's the expert. Jacqueline, was there any like good resources that they mentioned in your course? Because I went online and on Google, like there's a lot of like paid things and like free downloads, and there's not like a really clear like straight up this is the website you go to.
I was able to like find my textbook online through a Reddit link. It's called Signing Naturally, ASL. I can probably, if you give me a second, I can probably find the link and post it in the chat. But it might take me a second.
I love it. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts? Or
Jacqueline, why don't you email it to James, and he can email it out to us at the link, which would help us.
Yes, I'll do that.
And lots more emails.
Hardy, how'd it go? Not too bad?
Well, I have to tell you one thing. 40 years ago, I tried to become computerized. That was long before you guys were around. And that was when we had the punch card system.
Awesome.
And I had never learned how to type in my career. I said, Mrs. Miller, would you please type that for me? And I gave her a handwritten thing. So that dates me, of course. But I wasn't very successful. And then at age 55, I had to make a decision. Do I decide to continue with computerization, or do I quit and retire? So I opted for the first one, and I'm quite I have computer abilities, but not anything that you young people have. And the same goes with the American Sign Language. I have a question. On the ski hill with gloves, how does that work?
It's a great question. So I would probably encourage that we don't wear mitts, because that would just make it frustrating for everybody.
Try it today.
So get a 5-finger glove. I would also suggest probably having a liner glove. So if you do have to take off your bigger glove, then you've got a small glove on that can keep you a little bit warm. But I think we're also very lucky at Grouse, where this is going to be happening, that many days it's not that cold. So we may just take off our gloves and communicate that way. So to be discovered for sure. Awesome. If there are no other questions, I will bid you all adieu. As soon as I know when a couple of students are available to give us some more great information, I will get that set up and send out a training link so everybody can sign up again. In the meantime, have a wonderful New Year's Eve. We'll see you all very soon. We'll see you in 2022 when COVID doesn't exist.
Let's hope.
I'm glad
Thanks.
that at least
Thanks,
one
James.
optimist.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night. We'll talk soon.
James.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
James, quick question for you.
Yeah, I just wanted to stop the recording. Yeah, absolutely.
Hang on. Did you get a chance to download the ASD that I sent to you on the email, or because it's up on my other laptop, which I don't have with me at the moment. So.
Oh, there's no rush. It's fine.
Okay. All right. I'll download it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow and pop it up on the YouTube for you.
There is no rush. It is all good. Nobody really knows it's supposed to be there, so we live in the illusion. Go hang out with your family. Thanks for spending a little time with us tonight.
No worries.
Have a great night, everybody.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah. Yanni, what's up?
Just wondering, what age are the students that we're going to be?
They range from 6 to 18.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Yeah, so it's all over the place. It's going to be fun. I just got their information the other day, so we'll be able to put something together and share it with you guys soon so you can take a look. And then I'm just trying to get a couple more instructors to make sure we've got at least one instructor for every student. My belief is that a lot of them are kind of coming as friends and will want to hang out together, which is fine. And we could just kind of teach in groups, which would be my first choice. But who knows? It's always an adventure. We'll have a few extra bodies around too, in case we have any people with complex needs that haven't really been exposed to us yet. Like I know we have one little guy who's coming who is hearing impaired, is ADHD, and doesn't really communicate very well, but he's super nice. We skied with him before. His name is Kyle. He's a wonderful young man, but he's definitely a couple of instructors worth of energy and effort. So
cool. You said that there's going to be more ASL training in the new year, yeah?
Yeah, so we're just, so we set this one up. Actually, there was supposed to be a guest presenter tonight who, funny enough, contracted this thing. I don't know if you've heard around it, some pandemic thing going around.
Oh, wow.
So he contracted it and wasn't able to make it tonight. But his name is Eric, and he is been leading the charge to get this project going. So he'll be with us next time, and he is completely deaf. So it'll be interesting to have him show us some things and how it really works. And then, yeah, I'm trying to get a couple of students interested to come and give us a hand. Many teenagers need volunteer hours, so I'm happy to write off some of their volunteer hours if they're helping to do some training for us. So yeah, it'll be good.
James?
Yes, sir.
As I joined late, is this going to be on the ski portal?
It will be, yeah. It'll be on our website, yeah.
On the website?
Yeah, so I've just been, things like this, I just, we recorded it, I'll put it onto YouTube tonight, and then I'll put it in the training tab. And there's just a list of things kind of growing in there right now.
So the lowest link didn't work.
Which one didn't?
Well, the lowest one on the page, I just picked the last one there, and I didn't realize there was a second link. So I was in Dithersville somewhere.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out.
Yeah. Dumb dog.
Not at all.
Okay.
Diligent dog, diligent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you soon.